Good morning from beautiful sunny Thailand. So in the last two videos in this series, I first flew into Bangkok and then made it down to the islands, all the while talking about teaching English out here. And today's video is going to be telling you exactly how you can get started teaching abroad. So I'm going to discuss the different options for you, what you need to know about that process of getting started. So let's crack into it. Hello, how are you? So in the last video I told you about my story of living in Asia for the last 3 years and my journey of teaching English out here, traveling to and living in 8 new countries in Asia. Now the number one question I usually get is, how do I get started teaching? Which is what I'll cover in this video. So what you can see here is teachers doing their practical classes on our Thailand TEFL course. Now I'll tell you more about that and actually introduce you to some of the teachers you see here in the final video of this series. For now, I want to tell you how I got my first teaching job.
Great, good job. Great, good
I told you about how a crazy series of events, how I happened to talk to 2 different friends on the same day that didn't even know each other about teaching, and how that led me to my decision to actually do it. Well, after that, I had no idea where to start. So I started searching forums and websites to try to figure out the best way to start teaching. And wow, there's a lot of misinformation out there, and bitter expats who are just negative people expounding their opinions to anyone who will listen. That's actually one of the reasons I started making informative and positive videos about teaching abroad. Anyway, I somehow managed to stumble across a good option, which was doing a month-long teaching English certification, actually back home in South Africa. Hello. 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 Now there's a number of reasons why I'm really glad I did a fully classroom-based teaching certification. The first is that I was never really a good public speaker and actually pretty scared of it growing up. The great thing about the course was that over the period of a month of actually getting up in front of real students and working on getting over that, I actually gained the confidence to handle a classroom full of kids. Secondly, it actually equipped me with the skill set to teach English. People who hear about teaching English often default to thinking it's easy to teach English just because they can speak English. Well, I can tell you, based on how much I sucked in the beginning, that's definitely not the case. It's a skill set that you have to learn and practice. So after the course, I actually had the ability to teach a half-decent lesson, and with that foundation, I only improved once I got my first teaching job. So I did manage to get a teaching position in Korea, and I did my first year of teaching there. Now, each country that you might want to teach in has a slightly different process for actually getting a job. But after teaching in Asia myself for years and now having assisted hundreds of people to find jobs and get started teaching through Ninja Teacher, the number one factor inside of your control that I've figured out for landing a job is actual classroom teaching English experience. Whether this is on your resume in the form of a month-long teaching certification, or you demonstrating your ability to teach in a demo class at a school. If you don't have anything to show your ability to actually teach, and teach English specifically, not just coaching a sport or even another subject, schools are going to be able to see that straight away and likely hire someone who does instead. It's like reading a manual for a car versus actually being able to drive one. It takes physical practice and feedback from a teacher to improve until you're able to go through the steps efficiently and without really thinking about it. Now obviously there are exceptions, and that's why you hear about schools hiring people without any previous classroom teaching experience in Asia and other countries. But the market has been and will continue to move more and more towards teachers who can actually teach.
Is it a match, yes or no? No. Yay! Question? Yes or no? Yes or no? B.
I also like how you can do your course in any country too, and then even teach in a different country after that. So that's a pretty cool option to spend time in 2 different countries, especially in Asia where it's very cheap to fly between all the countries here. For example, you could do it here on an island in Thailand, then take a cheap, less than 2-hour flight over to Vietnam or Cambodia, or you could go across to China or Korea and get a job and start teaching there. Although I didn't mind training back home, I think it would have been better to do it in a foreign country for a few different reasons. The first one is you can actually experience and ease into the foreign culture in a supportive environment and not dive into the deep end by moving to a new country all on your own. So by the time you finish the course, you're pretty settled in and you're ready to teach. You both have the ability and you're used to the country. Secondly, you'll meet a lot of cool people and often make friends for life. If you stay in the country you did your course in, you can continue to hang out with these people, or you might even decide to go off with a friend you made and go to a new country. Thirdly, and this is probably the biggest one, being in the country gives you a huge advantage when it comes to finding a job. Not only do a large percentage of schools only hire teachers who are already in the country and not back home, but you can also see the school and meet the other teachers and students in person and get a feel for the school and assess if you think it's a reliable school and it's somewhere that you would want to work. Wow, 40 kgs. So my question to you is, what country do you want to start teaching English in? I'd love to hear from you. Leave a comment below and let me know. Okay, so stay tuned for the final video in the Thailand series where I'll be introducing you to some of the teachers that you've seen in this video and who are on the Thailand TEFL course, and I'm going to go into the details of the course so you can learn more about that. Alright, I'll speak to you then. Peace.